literally my second year in real estate, I hired a full-time assistant. That woman was with me for like 15 years and she was great. Total game changer. Oh yeah, because now you're not doing anything but selling. Like the second I did something that didn't involve talking to somebody about buying or selling, she would do it. Anything that's not like, hey, are you thinking about buying or selling?
Not revenue generating.
Yeah. And my father said something to me I'll never forget. If everything you have is because you ask somebody to buy or sell something, how often are you asking somebody to buy or sell? And I still think about that every day.
Welcome to the Regan Hard Report. And today we got Ryan Chiodo today. And he's a special guest that we're excited to interview. Ryan has tons of experience, multiple businesses, really involved in real estate, kind of is the main factor. Ryan, tell me a little bit about who you are and how'd you even get down here to Naples?
First of all, it's funny to hear you say that he's in real estate and has tons of businesses, because it seems like it was yesterday that I was bartending.
It always does, right?
Yeah.
Happens fast.
Moves quick, man. Yeah, so I moved down here. Did you want me to start from the beginning?
I want you to just go.
Yeah, okay. So I moved down here in 2002 after college, bartended at the Ritz-Carlton and a few other golf courses.
Mm-hmm.
Met a lot of real estate agents and said, I think I want to do that. And then I met a guy that owned a real estate company, and he said, you should get into real estate. And I said, I've been thinking about that. So got into real estate, didn't sell anything for the first year. And then after that, it was, it started to boom. The market picked up, started selling stuff.
What year was this again?
That was 2000. So nothing in 2002. So it was 2003.
Okay.
So the market was
20 years ago now.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's 20 years ago. Yeah.
That's insane.
So yeah, I got in.
So you're the one where they make all the jokes like bartender turns real estate
agent.
Yeah,
I'm that guy.
Bottle service girl turns real estate agent, because they see all the realtors at the club blowing all the money.
It's funny. Now I'll go to places and I'll see the bartender or the guy parking cars, and he's like, I want to get into real estate. And it's your knee-jerk reaction is go, oh man, that's a long road. But it's like, well, I had to do it, so it's attainable. So I can't say, well, don't do that.
Right.
If you've got the drive and the,
What was your mind switch? Why? Were you just burnt out in that industry, or because the money's pretty good at bartending, right? It's decent.
Yeah, and that's what gets you stuck in that career, because you're making money, right?
Yeah.
You're getting tips, and you're, the more you work, the more money you can make. Not dissimilar to real estate, but there's a cap, right? You can only work so much. So, when you're at, I was at the Ritz, and I'm meeting people in real estate and watching them just entertain clients, and then, hey, you just sold a $2 million house. How much money did you make? And the guy tells me 60 grand. I'll never forget that. I almost fell out. I almost fell over.
Right.
60,000, one sale. So that was kind of what pushed me into real estate. I'm like, I need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I grew up in the restaurant business. So selling is just, it's how I grew up. I was behind a bar talking to people all the time. So it was
natural sales.
Natural. But so I got in then and, just started to do real well. The market crashed. It's going like this, and then
it did
that. Yeah. And, fortunately, that was what we were just talking about. This is when I sold the golf course that I did.
So tell me about that. I didn't even know this.
Yeah. So 2000, it was probably 2006 or 7. I joined Quail West Country Club.
Yeah.
Bought a lot, joined the club, and then the market just was tanking.
Yeah.
So I literally had met this guy at Quail West who was raising money to buy U.S.-based distressed assets. And I had worked for WCI, which was they were WCI and Ritz-Carlton did Tiburon.
Correct.
So that was like WCI did the building, the management of the country club or whatever. So I had known some of the executives there, and I thought, so I just chimed up and said to this guy, well, yeah, you know what? I've got a relationship with WCI, and I've got a list of their assets. And I really didn't. Excuse me. So
wait. You were lying.
I was bending the truth.
First thing to salesman,
I was bending the
101.
truth. So, the guy said, well, we'd be interested. And I said, well, I've got to go get an NDA signed and all that, but I'll get it over to you. So I went home that night, got on the phone, started calling the people that I knew. And I knew that WCI was going into bankruptcy. So I signed an NDA. I got a list of the assets they wanted to sell. And I met up with the guy the next day. And, it took like 3 or 4 months. But then we started to consummate a deal on the one asset they wanted to buy happened to be Tuscany Reserve. So anyway, that's kind of what the market went like that.
Which is Talos Park.
Yeah, which is now Talos Park. So I sold that to a group out of Bahrain, and that closed in 2008. And after we wrote the contract, I never thought it was going to close because the market was just sliding.
Right.
But fortunately, those guys had the money. And then where were we going? So yeah, that happened, and then the market was really bad. So we started a property management company in 2009 probably. All the properties that we were selling to in the run up were all investors. So those people couldn't sell.
Right.
So I said, well, might as well rent them.
Yeah.
So we started,
Something. Don't let it sit vacant.
Yeah, if it sits vacant, it's dead asset.
Mm-hmm.
So we started a property management company, and we did a lot of rentals for 3 or 4 years, and then, fast forward to now, the market's good. It's been.
So when did you transition, and how did you go? Everyone in real estate's like, what brokerage should I do, right? Like, talk about that. Pros and cons. You got 100% models. You got, obviously splits. You got international brokerages, which you're a part of.
Yep.
First of all, how'd you get in? Why'd you choose that?
I was at 100% shop. I was at a traditional shop, and then the natural progression is once you start seeing your broker make money, it's like, whoa, taking all my money.
Right.
So I went to 100% model, which was Downing Fry at the time.
Yep.
So I went to Downing Fry, and then I was doing a lot of lead generation back then. So I needed to have a team. So that's when I hired some assistants, and I took over some office space. And I stayed with them for a while. Then I went out and opened up my own office, and I was using it under the Downing Fry umbrella. And then things got a little sideways. So I said, well, I'm just going to start my own brokerage. So then I started my own brokerage, got my broker's license. And that was like, I don't know. I didn't enjoy being a broker. Let's put it that way.
Well, it
was a nightmare.
The stress is on you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The brokers,
they're liable for everything.
Broker carries all liability. Yeah. And it's, now you go from a sales role to you're the guy. You have to train, mentor, answer the questions.
Best analogy I got in the medical field is like a nurse practitioner, or like a PA, right? They do all the stuff, but the doctor's liable for it all.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
it's like they're just the ones that sign the end.
And I mean, real estate agents they're entrepreneurs, so they're gonna leave eventually.
Right.
Most of them, right? You start taking their money, they leave. So it was just like this.
No way.
Yeah, I know. It's a revolving door, and it's a natural progression, and you just kind of have to get used to that. But the second time around, I downsized the company, started my own company again, hardhead, and then said, you know what, I want to get back into luxury. So that's when the guy that owned Engel Volkers had the territory. I can't remember if I approached him or he approached me, but we ended up, just teaming up effectively. I rolled my company into his, took a piece of equity, and then I went back to selling. So we hired a broker,
right?
Which has turned out great. It allowed me to get back and do what I love, which is sell things to people,
right?
And not do all the other stuff. So, yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
So
and the international brand thing's great.
Yeah, like how does that play a role, like in your day-to-day operations? Is it on the listing side or is it like
on the
more
listing
of the leads? Like,
yeah, it's more on the listing side because people. If you're a seller and you're going to interview 10 agents and one of them has offices all over the world and they have either a unique property or they have it's a luxury property, they're probably going to want more than just a local.
Yeah.
You want to be able to get that property out there to everybody. And we have this thing called Shop TV. So we take listings. The photography has to be a certain way. The media has to be a certain way because it's a German-owned company. So everything's very calculated. But then the properties get, they go through these TVs that are literally in the offices. So you could be sitting in my office in Naples and see a property in Norway or Sweden or wherever we have offices. They're going through there. So there's some benefit to that for sure.
Right.
It's definitely it's a luxury brand.
Yeah.
So and I'm in a thing called private office. So there's like 120 of us.
Right.
You had to sell a certain amount of production at the time to get into it, and then we share leads. So if somebody in, for example, Delray Beach. I just took a lead over here, $7 million lead. So the people that are in the private office network are typically only dealing with a luxury buyer, so maybe $1 million or $2 million plus.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been really good.
So tell me, you obviously venture out, right?
Yep.
You obviously your wife is super involved within real estate with you.
Yep.
And helps you out. But now does different parts of the business, right? Like different auxiliary businesses to assist the sale of the home, right? Talk about that.
Yeah. So. Lena and I met about 9 years ago, and she was working for a guy being like an executive assistant type.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because we were dating, and I'm looking at her like, man, you'd really be able to help me. You'd be a good partner. But
partner in life,
partner in everything,
right? Yeah.
right? So the second we started living together, she was traveling a lot, and I said, how much is this guy paying you? And she told me, and she said, well, I would pay you that much just to have you around, A, because I don't like when you're gone for 3 weeks, and B, I think you could help me. So she came in and we literally
You're like, I already paid you that much.
Yeah. I go, I'll just pay you anyway. Don't do anything. But no, she came in and, she basically took the 2 people that were working for me at the time. She's like, I think I can do a better job than them. And I'd love to work together. I think it'd be great. So we started working together. So at that time, she was doing executive assistant, administrative, and marketing because she can build websites and do all that kind of stuff. So it started out as that. And then, of course, it was like, then as we got closer together and we were talking about getting married and stuff, I'm like, let's just kind of distance ourselves a bit and let's hire people to do some of this stuff. Well, that's when we found who I have now, Nellie. Nellie's like, Nellie's the best. I don't know, have you ever met Nellie?
I've met her plenty of times.
Yeah.
She runs your whole business.
I always tell her, right? Nellie, if you stop working for me, I'm retiring. I don't even know what's going on half the time. She keeps everything moving down the field. So fast forward, Alina still does a lot of the marketing, and she kind of manages the people that are doing the other stuff, I guess. And during COVID, a lot of people couldn't get down here, right? They had a condo, they were getting ready to close, and they're Canadian, for example. How am I going to furnish this thing? How am I going to do anything? They couldn't get here. So my sister decided that she didn't want to teach anymore, and she said, can I do a business with you? And so we started a staging and design business. And that's where Rochelle did the staging, and then Lena went and got her interior design license. Mm-hmm. So then we started doing a lot of that. We were furnishing people's houses. We were doing some design, then we got into staging. And now we're doing some construction. So now we're doing we're not doing ground up construction yet, but we're doing a lot of remodels, renovations, that kind of thing.
Makes sense.
And Lena's doing a lot of just, the interior design, the renovation stuff. So she'll go meet with them and pick materials and furniture and all that jazz.
A lot of people struggle when making that decision to bring someone on to help them grow.
Yeah.
Right. And it's always a question of like, well, when am I ready? Right.
Yeah.
When were you ready? Right. Like you had Lena helping you out, but like, when were you like, I need Nellie, like I need a Nellie, right? Like I need that next person or whatever.
I was probably a year and a half into real estate and I hired an assistant, and I thank my father for that because I obviously couldn't afford it, right? It's like you're not doing enough business, but most salespeople are not organized, right? So I'm like, I'd write a contract. I forget where I left the contract. This was back when you would print them out.
Yeah.
Right. So I figured that out pretty quick. So we hired this woman. I probably had enough in savings to pay her for 3 months. So I'm like, I better become more efficient.
Right.
So literally my second year in real estate, I hired a full-time assistant. That woman was with me for like 15 years and she was great. I don't have a bad thing to say about her.
But that was like a game changer for you, wasn't it?
Total game changer. Oh yeah. Because now you're not doing anything but selling. Like the second I did something that didn't involve talking to somebody about buying or selling, I would go, okay, I don't want to do that. She would do it. Right. So if it's anything administratively, a contract, calling an inspection, following up an appraiser, anything that's not like, hey, are you thinking about buying or selling?
Not revenue generating.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it.
Right.
And that changed the whole game. And I've read a bunch of books and a bunch of sales books on how to do all that stuff. But, yeah, the second, my father said something to me I'll never forget. If everything you have is a function of asking somebody to buy or sell, like your car, your watch, just all your stuff, right? If everything you have is because you ask somebody to buy or sell something, how often are you asking somebody to buy or sell? And I still think about that every day, right? So the second I'm in my car, I don't listen to the radio. I'll go through my phone and I'll call somebody that I sold a house to a year ago, and I'll say, hey, just checking in, and they appreciate that, obviously. Mm-hmm. But, the conversation always turns into, oh, my friend's looking, or I'm thinking about selling, or I'm thinking about downsizing. So I don't really have,
Let's talk about that for a second. You kind of skimmed over it quick, but you've called me before.
Yeah.
Hey,
what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You call people every time you get in the car.
That's
so
it.
You don't ever listen to the radio.
Nope. Don't watch TV, almost zero.
Now, I'll answer this, I think, because I know the answer to this.
Yeah.
But it's probably for two reasons. One, to touch base with clients, but it's all lead generation, right?
Yeah.
You said, oh, so-and-so needs to buy a house right now. Or
Yeah,
I might be able to do this, right?
Yeah, I'm hypersocial on accident, right? So I might be calling you just to go on the boat, but then it turns into like, well, you own a real estate car. You're in real estate, right?
Yeah.
So it's Yeah.
So you're touching base, you're building a rapport, or
Yep.
like you're keeping up with them, you're creating top of mind, and possibly leading to more sales.
Correct.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What other things do you do besides calling now, or is that something that Nelly or who other people are doing? Like, how else are you generating leads?
We're doing Zillow. I don't take any of the Zillow calls, and I haven't for probably 2 or 3 years. So all of my Zillow calls go to my buyer's agents.
Okay.
Which I just started another team again, which I swore I'd never do, but I've found some good people. So I'm like, all right.
Like herding cats? I'm just kidding.
It's it's
Managing people.
it's sometimes a thankless job, right? Because it's an investment from a money perspective, and then it's an investment from a time perspective, and then you're generally building somebody else's business, which I think a lot of people in this area would attest that I've helped them do that.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the natural progression is they're going to go, and if they have any talent or skill set, they're probably going to want to go do it for themselves, which is it's fine. The team thing is like, hey guys, look, let's lock arms and agree that we're going to do this for at least 5 years.
Right.
You're going to, in some cases start from zero, but in some cases now I can plug you into something where I have all these, thanks to Nelly and Lena and other people, her sister. I have other people now that you can go sell something, and now we can just, the second that sale's done, we just take it over, and you basically just get paid at closing.
There you go.
So,
yeah, I think what people miss on that, and I had a coach that really taught me a lesson, was like strategically look at your day and actually time block what you're doing, right? And it's like, figure out exactly, okay, if you make a sale and you get paid X amount, right?
Yep.
And you do the math, what is your hourly rate? Like, and we actually went through it.
Yeah.
And I went with a coach, and it was like mind boggling. Like the amount of calls I had, even when I got no, let's say, no one answered, or I leave voicemail or whatever, like, cold calls.
Whenever you're working.
Right. Whenever you're working. And when I went through it, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm really like worth that much per hour. And then the reverse was like, okay, now you're doing this other task. How much could you pay someone?
Right.
Right. Like, we'll use example. If you're, making 200, if you're worth 200 an hour, but you're doing a task that you can pay 20, someone 20, 30, 25, 30 bucks an hour, like you're profiting in a sense, 170 an hour. Right. And I think people just forget to look at it from an actual, like, let's diagnose the problem here.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the farther you get in a career, the busier you're going to get.
Yeah.
And the more you should be doing things you should be getting paid what you're worth, right? So people are going to call you and go, hey, I'm thinking about selling a house. Well, it's like, I know how to do that pretty well. So if I'm going to sit down with you, like, I better be getting a lot of money.
Right. Exactly.
And
it sounds bad to say, right?
It does.
Like,
it does sound bad, but it's just time. You're trading time for money. So it's like,
and what can we not get back?
Can't get back time, man.
It's the only thing that we cannot buy. Get back. Right? We cannot buy time. Well, I say that, but then I say we technically can, because you can pay someone else so that you can get your time.
Correct.
You can't buy more time, and once it's gone, right?
Yep.
And people they'll waste their whole day.
Yep.
And I admire something about you, that you're golfing, you're doing different things. Now, you tie a lot in. You tie golfing, you tie boating, you tie whatever your fun activity is still into work.
Drives my wife completely insane.
Right, because she's like, can you ever not
Right, are you ever
work?
not doing something?
Yeah.
Right.
But like, you're tying it in together, so you're enjoying, you're almost doing two things in one, right?
Right.
Two birds with one stone. But like, you at least, I'm saying this because I admire that you at least go out and have fun.
Yeah.
There's so many agents get to a point, or business owners, or whoever it is, they get to the point that they have no time because they're just working.
Yeah, and I think, especially in this competitive environment we're in, right? You start putting these goals, and goals are good, but if you start trying to keep up with the Joneses, man, you're never gonna. I mean, how many millions of dollars? You got at some point you got to say, okay, I'm comfortable, I'm happy. Like, making an extra X is not going to make my life any better. So. Right. I think at that point it's like, okay, I'm going to go enjoy some time. And it's been nice, to kind of get my time back a little bit, because I worked pretty hard to get to where I am now. But, a lot of people just see, oh man, you're just killing it. And it must have been easy. But you got to be careful too.
They don't see the nights. They don't see this. They don't see all the sacrifices. How many times Lena was like, Ryan, stop.
Yeah,
like, you're overworking. It's like, well, someday you're going to appreciate it. Different things like that. They don't see that. And that's the thing. If it's Instagram, if it's whatever, unfortunately, it's all good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time Instagram's not really posting the bads, the struggles. Sometimes they are now, which is cool and to
Right.
see, but it's mostly the good stuff. So it's a highlight reel,
Yeah, right.
right? It's like, but they didn't put in, if you relate it to sports, all the practices leading up to it, all the film that they watched,
Yeah.
all the X, Y, and Z. It's just the amazing throw to a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
So
You got to be careful. It's funny. We joke about this all the time, but when you get comfortable outsourcing things, right? It's like, well, we did things we just talked about.
yeah,
Well, I can pay somebody to do that, and I can pay somebody to do that. So when you start paying everybody to do everything, I'm guilty of this. You outsource your life to the point where you're not even involved in it, right? And it's like, where's Ryan? It's like, I want to talk to Ryan.
yeah.
Oh, he's golfing. He's there. I mean, that's where all the business is coming from, but you still have to.
Double-edged sword, right?
Yeah, you've got to pick up the phone and be involved and know what's going on every transaction. Otherwise, people are going to go, what am I paying you for? And it's like, well,
Right.
you're paying me because when I step in, I'm like a howitzer missile. It's like I fix it
But I think
or kill it.
But I think also too, people forget that people think of it like this: I have to deal with the salesperson.
Yes.
What they don't realize is that if I go buy a phone, right? I'm not buying it from the person that made the phone. I'm buying the operations. I bought the software guy
Right.
doing this. I bought the tech guy doing this to keep whatever it is, right? I'm buying the platform. It's a business. You are running a business. High functioning, top producing agents or whoever, or business owners, doesn't matter.
Yep.
You're buying the business. It's just like
Yeah.
if I went to a title company and be like, well, I only want to deal with the attorney. It's like, well, no. First
Yeah.
of all, I don't want to pay for that.
Right,
But second
right,
of all,
yeah.
like you're buying the whole situation. And I think people forget that. 'Cause
Yeah.
They only want to deal with you. And you're
Yeah.
like, but I outsource it because so-and-so, Nelly,
Yeah.
or whoever, Lena, whoever, does a better job
Right.
at that task than I do. And
Fully
don't you want the best?
Correct. Yeah, fully competent, fully capable. Yeah, you're buying into the network too, right? So, over time you establish a relationship, a reputation, and a network, right? So I think anybody in business wants somebody to go, hey, I want to use that law firm or this accounting firm because they take their job seriously. They know what they're doing. They're on the vanguard, and they've got, especially in our business, they've got a network of people that can get the job done. Because in our business, there's a title company, an inspector, an appraiser, a lender.
At least those four are the
yeah,
minimum, right?
Yeah, minimum. You got all these things, and then you get the inspection report back. Do you have handymen? Do you have licensed contractors? Do you have people that'll show up and get the job done so we can get this thing over the finish line? Do you have a lender that can close the deal? Do you have a title company that can work through any legal issues? Do you have a title company that has in-house counsel? All these things, and it's like if you don't have all that, you're gonna just go work with in our business. You're gonna go work with your best friend's wife who doesn't have all that. Mm-hmm. Well, you're setting yourself up as a disadvantage. What, you're going to save on the commission? It's going to end up costing you 3 times.
100%.
Right.
You're going to pay more at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
When you try to cheap out. And it's all about who you know,
Yep.
right? Like my mom was HR, and I remember specifically the biggest advice she ever gave me, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yep.
It's all about your network. It's all about your sphere. And they don't expect you to be the attorney. They don't expect you to be inspector.
Right.
So why do they expect you to be the transaction coordinator or like whatever, right? Like it's kind of funny how that
If
all
they
happens,
have those
but-
expectations, I mean, you try to manage it, but then at some point you just go, look, this is, you can't work with everybody. You're not going to make everybody happy. So you kind of got to, in order to be successful.
Do you want to work with everyone?
No, of course not, because you're going to let those people down, right? And they're going to go, you did a terrible job for me. And it's like, well, our expectations didn't match. Like your expectation was this, and I can get that done in 5 minutes. So you want me to be on the phone with you, holding your hand the whole time. It's like, I'm only one person. I can't be everywhere.
And business, I think people need to look at it more like a dating mindset. It has to be symbiotic. It has to be two-way.
Yeah, right.
And I feel like most people look like, oh, well, I have to serve them. Well, yes, you do have to serve them if you've agreed to the terms.
Right.
But when you first, in a sense, get into business or you first learning about this client or whatever, you need to do your due diligence to make sure you guys can even help each other.
Yeah.
Because there's how many times that you've probably got into a situation and you realize this isn't going to work.
No, we
like
cut
your
bait.
expectations and what I can provide are two different things.
Yeah.
And vice versa. And I think people just jump right away, and especially new agents or new business owners or whoever it is, right? It's like, I think it goes back to the quality over quantity.
Yep.
Managing
Managing expectations is huge. That's something that, I kind of preach a lot too, is what when you want a listing appointment, when you sit down with somebody, you have to ask the questions to know, how fast you want to sell your house.
Right.
Do you want the most amount of money you don't need to sell, or do you want it to sell fast? Because if you wanted to sell it fast and I forward priced it, well, because I, was like, oh, the market's kind of in great, and you're like, well, no, I need to move.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, okay, well then let's price it where we think it's going to sell, and if it's worth more than that, it'll get bid up.
Correct.
Right? It's like, that's good advice for somebody that wants to move fast. If you're like, oh yeah, let's put it at $1.6 million and it's worth $1.5 million, but because there's no inventory, you think you can get $1.7 million, well, that's bad advice.
It's just going to sit
Yeah.
there.
Or if you say, I want you
You know
to,
what you did though?
Yeah.
You looked at the whole picture.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
people forget that.
You need the whole picture in order to, you're solving a problem, right?
And you're not a salesman. You're looking at it from a business standpoint.
Yes.
Well, let's look at it.
If I'm
big
you,
picture.
what do I do?
Exactly.
Right? If I want to
Exactly.
sell my own house, what am I doing?
Right.
And that's what I always tell people. I generally won't sell you anything that I wouldn't buy.
Right.
Unless you're just dead in love with it and you're not hearing it.
You know what? I saw a video and it was an agent, and she said she made a guarantee. She said, this was crazy.
I already know what you're going to say.
She said, if I cannot sell your home in 90 days,
Yeah.
I will personally buy it.
Oldest trick in the book.
I was like,
So the contract there was a Canadian guy that came up with that. I forgot his name now, but I went to his seminars a long time ago. And the contract says right in there, I'll sell your house in 90 days. If not, I'll buy it for cash. And Denny Grimes used to do it too. He's a local guy.
oh, yeah, Denny.
Yeah. And there was billboards. Everybody had these billboards that said that. But in the contract, it basically said I have the right to buy it for 70 or 65% of what it's appraised at. So that's what the contract says, right? So it's basically like, yeah, I'll buy your house, but I'm going to get it at a discount, and hopefully I don't get hurt because I'm buying it for a perceived discount.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's
Yeah,
always,
there's
there's always something.
Yeah, there's
in
always
the
fine
contract.
print.
All right, so you're now involved in construction, right? Doing remodels, you're doing some different things, you're doing staging. How do you balance everything? Like, how do you keep everything in check?
I don't want to be the construction guy, right? I want to be able to offer that so I go on a listing appointment in the house. The person says, look, I want to get the most, you only get one chance to sell a house. I want to get the most amount of money for the house. Okay, well, if we don't think the market's going to change, we think the market's going to stay good. We know houses sell better when they're updated. If you spend $1, you typically get $2 back, so it makes sense to do it. And it's more saleable. Sometimes things will just sit and not sell. So if I upgrade it, at least I know I'm going to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always had the vision of I want to control the deal from cradle to grave. I don't want to refer it to somebody. I want to refer it to something that I have ownership in, so that I can steer the bus a little bit if I need to get involved. Do I want to be involved? Not at all. I don't want to be involved at all. I want to hire people that I trust, that I think can steer the ship, and I want to keep some ownership. So that's basically what we're doing. We're trying to keep everything
organizing the whole fleet.
Yeah,
and you want captains on each.
Yeah,
of the boats.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to go in the construction route now. So we want to start out with the GC license, so we can do anything, right? Ground up construction, remodels, pull permits, all that stuff. And then it would be, we want to go to HVAC, have an HVAC company, a roofing company, so that we can control all that and control pricing and I know that the guy, like the people that I have that are working with me now, I know that they're responsive, they care.
Because you set the expectations.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah,
you
because
will
if I'm
be
the
my
lead guy,
go-to person if you meet all this.
Correct. And people that work with me typically move fast. Like people that move slow, they don't work with me because they're like, you move too fast, right? So you can't work with everybody. So the people that
because I can't work with you,
exactly,
right? Like you say that back.
You and I give each other anxiety.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, the people that I'm working with are used to like, hey, look, when's my house going to be listed? 5 days, right? We'll have start to finish. Your house will be on the market in 5 days. It'll be staged. It'll be photographed. We'll have the written up. Everything's done in 5 days because we go fast, right? So that's the expectation. So if I call somebody to do a remodel, I want to take 3 months to do a remodel. I want to get moving on in a week.
Right.
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 Somebody wants to do so, and then the nice thing is you learn all that because now we're doing it. Like how long does it take to do a garage floor and some cabinets? How long does it take to do cabinets inside the house? Paint. How fast can I get a paint quote back? Put in a garage door. So you're literally, the house has a lot of things, right? You got insurance. There's so much going on.
That's why real estate's such a big industry, the biggest industry, right? Because there's so much that goes into a $500,000 asset, a $10 million. It doesn't matter. There's so much involved.
A $10 million house is it's like owning a school.
There's just a lot of little.
You open up
stuff.
all those cabinets, you're going to see technology and generators and.
It's never. I'm building right now, and man, the amount of discussions and different things, and what about this and that? I don't know. Like,
where are you building?
Just in like a little bit into the estate, so not like super far out. Pine Ridge turns into White Boulevard there after Collier, right down there on 27th.
Oh yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah. So 27th. Yeah.
You're on the north side of.
Yeah, it's southwest because I'm on the north side, south of Golden Gate, but north side of White Boulevard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like,
I like
it's like,
that
which garage doors do you want? Well, I don't know. Like, which this? What
see,
lift,
those are all
this,
the things.
What lighting? What like? And I'm like, holy.
If you've never done that,
No.
see, like I sold a lot of new construction and I still do. So it's like and that's the thing too. Like if you're going into a sales center, for example, and the typical person is going to go, I'm going to go get a discount by not bringing a real estate agent.
Oh my!
It's the worst thing you could do.
Because there's so many things that they.
The
can
guy
pull
in there
over.
with the guy or girl in there with the name tag on works for the builder, not for you.
Yeah, they do not represent you.
Right.
And they have to have the best interest of the builder.
And then you call me and you go, oh, I want to sell my house that I just bought. And I go, okay, did you extend the garage? Did you put a pool in? Did you put solid core doors in? Did you put insulated garage doors? Did you do any of that?
Nothing.
Oh, no, I didn't do any of that.
Well, the salesperson didn't tell me because they didn't want to.
Right.
Because the builder makes more money when you don't make that change.
I
tell you. All right, you love golf.
Are you putting in insulated garage doors?
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah. Insulated garage doors.
Yeah.
Just don't tell code, but eventually I'm going to put a mini split out there so I can have some AC out there.
Yeah, nice.
What's like, I like tinkering with things.
We always put ACs in the garage.
Yeah, you. It's just like, why
Dude,
not?
it's a whole nother room in the house.
And it's monstrous. Another 1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And I got all my crap, everywhere. So I need it, control it out there. So, I went a little bit large on the garage and different things like that because I do plan on being out there. Working out there and stuff like that, but I wanted to be comfortable. So
garages are,
All right, golf. You're huge into golf. We got to talk.
And I still
golf.
Stink. It's the funniest part.
So golf has been a huge, obviously, networking thing for you, right? You build a lot of relationships.
Yep.
But you're building a golf course, is right?
Trying.
What's going on with this?
So the golf course.
What's your vision?
The vision. I don't know why, to be honest. I'm a glutton for punishment. Sometimes I start things just to see if I can finish them. That's been an interesting story. The golf thing started with a conversation with one guy and then the next guy, and they're like, yeah, we're trying to join a club down here. We can't get in anywhere. And we don't want to join a country club. We want to join a golf club. And I'm like, I guess I knew the difference, but I didn't. A golf club, basically, there's no houses on the golf course.
Correct, yeah.
Right? So it's a golf club. It's just for golf. You go there, you golf, you go home. Typically, no tee times. If there are tee times, it's easier to get out. There's typically less members. There's maybe 200, 250. So, there's only a handful of those in town, maybe 5, 6, 7. I'm not sure how many, but they're all full, right? And people are they're moving here now. They're not just retiring here. Yeah. So golfing, where typically, you could go golf whenever you want. It's from November to April. It's not that way anymore.
No.
So that's kind of what started me on that track. And I'm like, I'm going to start looking for some land. Then I go on Google Earth and I'm looking around. I'm like, man, there's no land left in Collier County. And then there was these 3 parcels. One of them was under contract. I called the agent and we put that one under contract. And then the other 2 were owned by 2 other families. And whatever, I got everybody to agree to sell. And then we went down this road where we thought, according to the county, we weren't going to have to go through site development and the growth management plan and have all the things we thought we would have to do. We didn't. The county basically said, no, you're good. You don't have to do any of that. And then 4 months later, they go, oops, you have to go through all that.
Weird.
Yeah. So now I'm
county, government.
Yeah.
Fun times.
I've wasted a lot of money, but I'm not giving up on it.
Yeah.
But so, yeah.
What's your vision? What kind? So like obviously you want a golf club, right?
Yeah. I want to I want to build
a country club.
Yeah. The most luxurious, exclusive golf club in Collier County.
Give me an example of what it would relate to. Like,
so for example,
like Michael Jordan's.
Yeah, just like, are you familiar with the Discovery Land, Baker Bay?
I've heard of it, but I don't.
Yeah,
like,
so it's
I just know the name.
First class. They've got these things called comfort stations where it's like an unmanned 7-Eleven, effectively with a bar in it. So you walk in and there's everything that you could ever want: ice cream, slushies, liquor, food.
Right.
And they're like every 3 holes. So they're called comfort stations. And then you've got no tea times. Golf whenever.
Disneyland for adults,
exactly.
for golfers.
It's just, and you go there and you golf whenever you want. It's first class all the way. It's not, it's going to be expensive, but it would be something like Naples doesn't have right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think
golf villas.
First of all, the people are here. The people that are here would want it, appreciate it, would pay for it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the
demand's been crazy since I had the idea. Actually, a buddy of mine gave me the idea, and then I just ran with it. But since we started talking about this concept, the feedback's been crazy.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of hit this wall with going through all the basically the environmental issues associated with the property. So it's a lot more. Being a developer is a little more. There's a little more to it than I thought. Let's put it that way.
Always.
Yeah.
Obviously, you start new things. You try new things. Okay. In anything, an entrepreneur, we're experiencing it right now. You're talking about it's like the unknowns, right?
Yeah.
How do you not get burnt out?
I don't know. I get more excited every day.
So this is about the thrill. It's about like kind of like the kill in the sense like you're trying to accomplish this new task and you need to get it, or like obviously that's sales, right? And that's why like a lot of people like sales. But a lot of people, they're like, oh, I'm spinning my wheels, I'm grinding each day, and they get burnt out. What advice? Like how do you someone limit themselves from burning out?
Well, I think you got to have a little bit of balance, but that's why we go on the boat. That's why we go golfing. And when I golf, I don't talk business at all. Like, I'm not out there like, oh, hey, you hear about that new? Not out there to do that. Like, let's just golf. You want to talk about that? Let's talk about it after.
Right.
You can't just every conversation be about business.
No.
Right. I have a good group of friends, and when we're on the phone, the last thing we're talking about is business.
Right.
Right. We know that whoever we associate with is typically good at what they do. They're a good friend. They're a good person. So I know I can call them. If I need something, and I need, legal advice, got a good buddy that's attorney. You need a doctor's advice, friends that are doctors. We just don't talk about our professions, right?
Yeah.
I think that's just keeping that away from it. That's how I don't get burned out. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, can't wait to figure out what to do. But I can remove myself from it as fast as I can dive into it.
It's funny because it's like people think that you're going to golf to build relationships, and then like when
you are.
But they think you have to talk business to build a relationship. You get to know someone so much on a golf course by not talking about relationship.
Agreed.
How they handle that, how they handle a bad shot. Are they fun to be around, or like what about awkward silence? Like there's so many things you learn about someone.
You're with somebody for 5 hours, 4 hours.
And go get lunch after.
Yeah.
And then, shoot the shit and say, all right, so tell me about your business.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? Cool, great. But not on the golf course. Like, it's funny. It's funny because people think, and don't get me wrong, people are golfing to build relationships.
Yeah, everybody knows you're doing the same thing. If I don't know you and we're golfing together and you seem like you're a good person, it's like, maybe we can do some business.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
First, this is the dating period.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I'm going to see how you handle some
If you're
things.
a complete square, I'm probably never going to hang out
exactly.
with you again.
If this was awkward and we can't even talk on a golf course and have fun,
exactly.
then I don't want to do business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But golf has been great for that. And it used to be like, you got to go to it's almost like dating. You go to a bar. Like I used to go to the Ritz-Carlton, hang out at the bar all the time.
Right.
People go, oh, you live. They don't live here, right? No. So the first, oh, you live here. Yeah, I sell real estate. Mm-hmm. And then that's where it would turn. Oh yeah, we're down here looking.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how I, kind of got my start. I was going out every night.
Yeah.
That's how I get all my leads.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
I was out anyway, right?
Hey, you're an outdoors.
You just happen to want to buy something.
Build relationships, right? Yep. You can't. People say you get lucky. Well, you can't be like, you have to be out and about, and you have to be doing things to be able to get lucky. And first of all, it's not luck. It's you put in the work. You're out. You're doing this or whatever. And people are always like, oh, you got lucky.
Yeah.
You got this. And it's like, really?
Yeah.
There's so many times that you probably went out, you didn't meet people, you didn't do whatever, and you're like, well, I tried.
Yeah.
But next time, hopefully I get it. It's not a home run every time.
I could say maybe I'm like too stupid to even know when I fail. So it's like I don't even look at it as a failure. I'm like, I just keep going.
Because you learn from it.
Yeah, you just go, that didn't
Maybe
work.
you said the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't do that again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it wasn't a fail. It was just like now next time when there's a bigger whale on the line, I know what I'm not going to do.
That's like that whole ready, fire, shoot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's in business. I've always been like a do, learn, fix guy. So they'll go, how do you know all that? It's like, well, because I make way more mistakes than you do.
Right.
And the only way to learn is to make a mistake.
And I've already made the mistake, so now I'm not going to make the mistake
with
you.
Right.
So it's a blessing that I've already made the mistakes before, because now I'm not going to do it with you.
Correct.
Love it. Ryan, we've had such a great conversation.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
If anyone has any questions about, building businesses, real estate, different things, obviously your information will be below.
Perfect.
Appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.
How you stay afloat, how you, don't get burned out, how you build relationships, your mindset towards it. I think that's powerful, and I hope some people take it away because, the thing is, people always want to just work. They just want, they feel like they have to do the, boring stuff. And don't get me wrong, you do have to do the boring work, but it's more than just, hey, I need business from you. It's you building relationships, you're doing that, and you do a good job at that. And also you do have a, good balance of work and play and different things like that. And how do you kind of tie it together? So
and don't get me at the beginning, you got to work, right? In the first 5 or 10 years, you better learn everything there is to know about what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Because after that, then you can go.
Yeah. People think they're just going to be given to it. And I think, not to go on a tangent, but it's instilled, like if you go to college and you get a job and it's like, in a sense, they give you a roadmap.
But to be an employee for life.
But exactly. It's not how that works, especially when you go an entrepreneur. Like you're going to get beat down. You're going to get slapped up. You're going to be like, you got to get ready to be ran through the ringer for a while, and then it will come. So moral of the story is do the work and do it some more and then keep doing it.
Yep. Put your time in.
Exactly. Well, pleasure. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate you having on.
Thanks, Andrew.
We'll see you guys on the next episode.